So I figured part 2 or round 2 or whatever, trying to do this again, because before I had a phone call that I had to do with my bank because I got scammed, and then had to deal with that and amongst other things. But I figured, since I do see oh my god, my hair. I don't know why it's, the texture right now is being so weird. It's like it literally feels like, I think I put too much hair product in it. I always end up putting too much. Like I always think, oh, let me do more, and then more is worse. But anyhow, okay, hold on. Phone call. It's so freaking, every time I do this, I get a phone call that comes in every time I try to record something. So I'm gonna see what this is about. Anyhow, literally every single time I'm trying to record a video now, someone either calls my phone, or I need to like silence my phone or something, which I find funny. But I do see people doing videos where they do, I didn't realize that the abbreviation Get Ready, GRW, Get Ready With Me, GRWM, I didn't understand what that was until I watched a video and I was like, okay, this makes sense. And I never understood why people did it. But, you know, it gives you a glimpse into someone else's life. And then also, especially when you're targeted and shit like that, people talk crap about you. And then so it kind of, which I never thought I would ever share my life on the internet with a bunch of random strangers that I don't know. But here we are, because I've been through a lot of shit, and I think people talk shit. And, you know, what better way to clear your name of bullshit that people make up about you than to give people a real glimpse into your life and what you're all about. Because, you know, pictures, you know, just, I mean, and I'm guilty of this, where, you know, you prejudge someone, right? Like when I was younger, I literally used to judge everybody. And I used to think, because I wasn't really flirtatious growing up. I was very modest. I don't know. I kind of had my nose in the air, because I was like, I looked at myself as the good girl who did the right thing, and I didn't lie, I didn't, you know, cheat, steal, you know, all that bad stuff. Like, I don't know why I used to equate flirting with being bad. I don't know why. Maybe, you know, I know why, because of my Catholic upbringing. Because, you know, in the Catholic Church, you know, all that stuff like self-pleasure and all of that's like frowned down upon, and, you know, so I kind of put flirting and all that and romance and that. I had a very over idealized idea of what love, not that like Disney movies are bad and all that, and, you know, it's fun to imagine that fairy tales happen, and, you know, but life is not like a Disney movie. It's very messy. I mean, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes people can have a fairy tale kind of situation happen in their life, or a Cinderella story, but more often than not, you know, life requires you to, like, nothing is handed to you on a silver. Well, I don't know. Some people are kind of born into wealth and all that, and, you know, they do have things handed to them on a silver platter. But more often than not, you have to work for what you want. And, you know, I will say that, and I hate sounding like a broken record and talking about gang stalking and targeting, but like just today, I keep looking at my expenses and my finances and stuff, because I like, which I can show a brief glimpse of after I try to get my hair to be semi-decent. I have naturally wavy hair, so it's like, when I find these hairs that are like extra wavy, I'm just like, ee! It annoys me. But when I look over my spreadsheet that I made on Excel, because I use color coding and everything, like I made this spreadsheet that, you know, because I just, for my brain, whenever, for anything, for organizational purposes, I need to compartmentalize things so my brain can assimilate it better. So, like, I put all of the, what's it called? All of my different credit cards. So if you haven't watched my other videos, I kind of go into depth about how I ended up being where I am right now in my life. I have about, and I don't mind saying it, what, like $60,000 of debt, which is a shit ton of, that's basically like a degree. That's basically, okay, this damn watch. I'm taking this off for, well, maybe make it tighter. It's basically like my OT degree, because I got into OT school like a few years ago, and I had money saved up for that, like 75 grand. I worked my butt off as a server and, all this stuff, and then all this other bull crap happened in Miami that basically just fucked my life up. Not of my doing, not on my accord, it's just someone else, and I don't hold any contempt for him or anything like that. It's just one incident or a series of incidents that led me to, moving out of state, and it's just frustrating because oh my God, look at all this hair. Oh, you can't even see it, but there's like a bunch of hair. I don't know why this happens to me. I don't know why my hair comes out like that. I don't know. I don't understand it. My hair comes out really easily, but it is frustrating when you look at, like, I see my spreadsheet and I see all these like bills that are due, because I used my credit cards to basically, like, when I kept moving, like, you can go watch my other videos and I explain how that ended up coming to be, and being vulnerable and sharing about my debt and stuff like that, that's authenticity, right? We're only human, and sometimes people find solace or they find solidarity in hearing other people's stories, I'm not ashamed of it. It's not like I bought a cruise vacation. It's like it's frustrating because when you didn't do anything wrong and other people did stuff to you or lied about you or like tried to make your life really hard for several years and betrayed you essentially, and then you have to start all over again and there's no justice for that really hurts, like it really, really hurts, and I've cried about it. And my goal, I've been seeing a lot of like Disney content come up on my Instagram feed. I don't know why. I don't know if I clicked on like disneyworld.com or something, but I keep getting stuff about like people's Disney trips and like the food they eat at the Epcot Food and Wine Festival and all this stuff. And I'm originally from Florida, so that was like we went to Disney as a family like almost, I think, how many times did we go to? We went to Disney like 5 to 6 times a year. I kid you not. Like we went a lot. My childhood literally is like going to Orlando and going on Spaceship Earth and like sitting there and they're like, in the dawn of time, you're hearing Judi Dench. If you've never been to Spaceship Earth, it's like literally the big white ball at Epcot. Like that was my childhood. I knew every ride. I knew like that was literally like my childhood. My parents would like surprise us. Like when I was in first grade, I remember distinctly, my parents bought a Honda Odyssey, a white Honda Odyssey van. We had our dog. Her name was Susie. She was the cutest Shetland sheepdog. Little bit of nothing, like this, with this coat that was so like furry. And we took her everywhere, and we stayed at like only pet resorts, like pet friendly resorts, and I was the queen of vacation planning. Like I literally I was like what, like 10 years old, and I'd be like on Expedia like I'd be like, does the hotel have this and this? Does it have this? Where is it located? Is it near the bus station? Is it like, I literally like, I loved travel planning, and especially Orlando and stuff like that. And we never really went to Universal that much. But it is, I know people kind of cringe when they hear Disney adults, and I get it. Like, I totally get why people say that and make fun of Disney adults, because it is like, Disney is here's where I countered that, because Disney has kind of morphed into this like all ages company. Because they're a multi-billion-dollar business, obviously, but they've morphed into like, it's crazy how one man, Walt Disney, started that, and now it's like, it's a whole world. They bought Marvel, there's Avatar, so it's really not like, when people talk about Disney adults, and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, that's so cringy, and I'm like, there's adult, like, it's, if you're not, people that are not in touch with their inner child, I think, or maybe their parents didn't expose them to that stuff, they don't really understand it, right? And there are a lot of good morals. Like, I know Toy Story 5 just came out, and I want to see that. I've seen every Toy Story movie, like, since it's like the first one. Like, I watched the first Toy Story, I don't know how many times as a kid. You know, Pizza Planet, you know, Tim Allen, Tom Hanks. Like, I love that, the Bo Peep character, the pig, the T-Rex thing, Sid, you know, that I loved that, and Andy and his, you know, Woody with his shoe, and everything. Oh, Toy Story Mania, that's like one of the most fun rides in Hollywood Studios, which used to be called MGM Studios. But to me, I don't think, you know, I don't see it as something being cringe. It's part of like my life, and I used to be very much into it. Like, I used to want like Minnie Mouse, you know, accessories. Now I've kind of like, I've toned it down a bit. I haven't, you know, but I will say, if I found a Mickey Mouse waffle maker, I would for sure get that. And I can't afford it, but I would definitely get a Mickey Mouse. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if you show me, like, when I was growing up in Coral Gables, and in Publix, they had like ice cream things in the shape of like Mickey, whatchamacallit, like the Mickey Mouse ear things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's like Mickey Mouse ice cream things, and they're covered in chocolate, or like anything that was Disney, anything like Disney themed Oreos. I've been having weird reactions to chocolate lately, so I haven't eaten that much chocolate. But like, the Oreo company, Nabisco, they came out with and I'm like an Oreo fiend. I grew up eating that shit, but like, they came out with the Marvel Oreos or something, and I'm like, oh my god, I want them so bad. Anything that's seasonal, I'm such a sucker for. Like, when they do the Halloween Oreos, when they do the Christmas Oreos, or like 4th of July Oreos, whatever, Independence Day, which is coming up. I think, yeah, July 4th is coming up. So I'm really into that, but I forgot why I mentioned Disney. There was a reason. Oh, so like, I have this goal where I'm like, I see all my expenses, because I did use my credit cards when I wasn't working because of all the BS. Like, I had to move over and over again because I was being harassed in various communities that I moved to. And if you want me to conceptualize harassment, I can. I'm not going to do it now, just because I just don't want to. Today's Friday, and I'm so happy to be alive right now, because I've had, if you watch my other videos, I've had weird reactions to food. As of late, for like the past 2 months since I moved to Chicago, and, you know, when I was in Indiana, and just, it's scary to me, you know, like, and I have no control over that. And I know people you can play devil's advocate and be like, oh, you had an allergic reaction. Maybe you have food sensitivities. Trust me, I worked in the hospital. I am not a clinician, but I was a healthcare professional for a few years. So I would be the first person to attribute something to something physiological, not, you know, intentional, malicious people, you know, doing bad things. That's my first go-to, is like, don't automatically assume the worst, but like, I know my body, and asthma kind of mimics like airway obstruction, but what was happening to me was like, I had double vision, like blurry vision. My mouth, I couldn't talk. Like, it almost, not to say I had a stroke, but like, it was very strange, the stuff that was, I had a horrible pain in my stomach. It was scary. And then another time I felt like I was so woozy and disoriented. I felt like I was drugged, like as if I was given a tranquilizer or sedative, and I don't do drugs, so like, it was just, that was several months ago, but because of that, I became so traumatized that it was really hard to eat or whatever. But even before that, and I have gained weight, for the people that are like, I was 88 pounds because I was so afraid to eat. Now I'm 104, so thank God. I tell myself I can do hard things, you know. I don't have a trouble. I'm like, I need, because just for health wise, and, you know, targeting is really hard. Being gang stalked is really hard. No one really prepares you for that. I look at it as a lesson in like just resiliency, you know, so you do the best that you can. But at least my nails are growing. That's the plus side, you know. I tell myself if my nails weren't growing, then I'd be in big doo-doo. But I do have a goal of like, I've been seeing so much Disney content pop up on my Instagram feed that I'm like, I have a goal that in 5 years, I want to be able to go to afford to have a Disney trip. And I don't know if I'll pay for it myself or I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that is a goal of mine, to be able to go to Disney. And I'll be, I don't know how old I'm 34, 5 or 6 or 7. Oh my God, I'll be almost 40 years old, which is crazy. I mean, hopefully maybe I'll meet a nice man by then and, you know, have some friends, because, you know, with gang stalking, I kind of lost all of that friendships and, you know, because who wants to, like, because think about it, like, who wants to be friends with someone who talks about being gang stalked, like, all the time, you know? Like, nobody wants to be friends with someone who's like, I'm slowly being poisoned and murdered and drugged. No one wants to be friends with that. Hey, and I don't blame them, but like, here's the thing, like, as someone who's very empathic, and I also want to work towards, hopefully, I don't know if I want to, like, because I'm dead ass broke right now, excuse my language, but like, and it, you know, and I could hear people going, oh, you need to take accountability for your actions, you're broke because of whatever. No, it's like, I was wronged, and I do feel like it's a crime, you know, and I am a card reader, I am intuitive, I believe we're all intuitive, but like, I do read energy really well. Can't say I'm like great at it. Can't say I can make a profession out of it, because there's people who are like professional psychics and whatnot. But I do read energy pretty decently. I get good hunches about things, and you know, and I follow through on that. I do believe we all have that built into us, like an emotional GPS system or guidance system, if you will. Some heed it and they listen to it, and some don't. I will say that when you're extra sensitive to stuff, it makes life more difficult, especially dating. It makes dating and friendships and working a job really hard, because you can sense through the BS really, really well, especially if you have a high EQ. Maybe not IQ, but if you have a high EQ. I'm sorry, I just have hair like all over the floor. Like, I don't get why. I don't know why. I swear to God, I'm like, wow, where does this come from? I'm like, you would think I have like never-ending hair, and there's so much hair. Like, if I showed how much hair, like, it even looks like it's still tons of hair, and I don't know where. I don't know how. I don't know how. How I don't get it. And why does it come out like that? If anyone's a doctor and they know why hair comes, like, let me know, because I don't know. Anyways, what was I saying? So yes, that's my goal, is I want to be able to go to Disney in 5 years. And then, I don't know, or maybe, I know there's Disneyland Paris, but I don't even know how I would get there. And there's Tokyo too. But, I just want to be able to say that I paid off all the, you know, debt that I have. And it is frustrating, because it's like, I look at all these numbers and I'm like, how am I going to get this to go down, you know, like, and so I've been applying to, like, I did apply for a contest through my bank about it maybe several months ago. It was this back in October, I think, of last year. It was like $20,000 that you could win, and I mailed in like my voting thing for that. I haven't heard back about it, but it was $20,000 that you could win. And again, I haven't, this is too big, but I was trying to make it brighter because it was so dark. But, you know, I'm trying to be resourceful and, you know, find different ways to clip coupons, and I just never thought I'd be in this position, if I'm being quite candid. It's just, and it's frustrating, because it's like, I didn't do anything wrong, you know? Like, I did not, legitimately, I did nothing wrong. I don't steal or anything. Like, I've never, you know, and people, whoever's being a cyberbully to me wants me to feel like, you know, I'm being tortured or bullied and stuff like that, or cyberbullied, and, you know, people are poisoning or drugging, whatever, with my, just say messing with my food because of, but then again, even, so here's the thing though, because when I lived in Virginia, I didn't have all this like debt or whatever, because I lived in Virginia, and I moved to Falls Church, Virginia, Mosaic specifically, after I lived in Philadelphia. I left Philly in June of 2023, and then I I went to Virginia Falls Church. It was called Mosaic. It was like a you can eat, sleep, work, play, whatever in the same area. Kind of like if you live in Coral Gables, there's something called Merritt Park, and it's kind of like that. And like when you go downstairs, there was Cold Stone ice cream, which wasn't good for me because I love Cold Stone. So, but that's why, you know, by that time I was still going, I still had my food being messed with, and I didn't have a ton of debt, you know, so even so, the food thing was still happening before. So I don't think it's because of, you know, me owing amounts from a bank, because I can't imagine banks would like torture someone and try to gang stalk someone because they owe, like, that doesn't even make sense to me. That's so like not American or constitutional or legal for that matter. So yeah, it is weird to look at that spreadsheet and like see like, I literally, because I categorized it by credit card, and I put the due date for each thing and the different notes, and because I had so many credit cards. Like I had like Sephora, I still have Sephora credit card. I had Wayfair, I had Best Buy, I had, you know, because I had really good credit, and it's just like because of other people and like just BS and stuff, I got the short end of the stick. And it's like, it's crazy because the people who, you know, the people who bully you and abuse you, they get away with it, and then I'm left with like the repercussions of trying to rebuild my life, while other people just like, you know, they carry on their life willy-nilly, and I'm the one with trauma, I'm the one with debt that I don't deserve, you know, and it's like anything, and if I just, it's crazy, you know, and I'm not one that likes to complain or anything, but it's like people make up lies and start rumors and shit, you know, it's crazy to me. It's truly crazy. So I feel proud of myself that, you know, I wake up and I choose to try, you know, because I've experienced so much pain in the past, and I'm not trying to, you know, downplay other people's plight, you know, because everyone's going through something. We're all going through something. Like there's people, women who have miscarriages, people who are infertile, men who get laid off from their jobs, men who get cheated on by their wives or their spouses, families who have their children at the age of 4 years old pass away, you know, or get sick with cancer in a hospital. Men or women who've been at jobs for 30-40 years and get laid off because the newer, younger generation comes and takes their position, or AI takes their job. I don't know, you know, there's so many different things that we're all going through, or someone gets a new diagnosis of something, you know, so it's just, to me, that what I've been through could have been prevented. It's not like it was a natural occurrence, you know, like there's things that happen in people's lives, like if you get sick, that's your health. If like, you know, for me it was like a legit, it felt like a crime, you know, and I can't prove it. It's been very difficult to prove. It's just in my heart, I know that something's off, and it's like every day that I kind of distance myself from it. I mean, I'm really far from Florida, you know, like it's crazy to think, like, I'll be honest, 2021 has never stopped. It's just been a continuation. I know the numbers change and the years change, but for me, it never stopped. Like, actually, sorry, I take it back. 2021 happened, and then 2022 is when I left Miami. Ever since then, it's been a constant, just a struggle. And, you know, I am into numerology. I am into, like, you know, odd numbers are very, to me, very finite. Even numbers, I like even numbers more than odd numbers. I don't know why. 2, 4, 6, 8. Even the infinity sign for number 8 is like, it's like the infinity sign. You know, odd numbers are like kind of like, you know, even though 9, like my birthday's 9/9/91, that means completion, like the completion of a cycle. 111 is like new beginnings. 222 is harmony, partnership, cohesion. 333 is like, to me, a master number. It's the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 444 is guardian angels, like angelic presence, the four corners of a cross, that kind of thing. 555 represents change, new cycles kind of things, transformation. 666 is it's a karmic number, but I can't understand. To me, 666 represents like 666, like the devil, the mark of the beast. That's what it's associated with in the Bible, at least. But it's also highly transformative as well. 777, obviously, lucky numbers. But there is a reason why I mentioned this. I guess, because 2021 and 2022. So it all just kind of meshed together. And there's just things that I've been through I just didn't deserve, like, I can't sit here and say for sure, like, oh, I've been almost trafficked. I just will say, like, I've been in hotel rooms where I feel like I've been sedated. I've had food where I feel like I've been drugged, or tranquilized, if you will. Because we all know our bodies, right? Like, we all know our baseline and how we operate and stuff. And that's very scary to think that people could, because when you're hacked and stuff, what happens is people can see your whereabouts and what you're doing and where you're going and whatnot, and that's terrifying, right? Like, imagine you order food and someone could see where you order food, or like a hacker can see your receipt from a store. All they have to do is just hack into the system. I mean, it's not that hard. Or if you get food delivered, Uber Eats or stuff like that, I've had it where, like, people have delivered food to me and the person who it said it was supposed to be looked completely different than the person who it was. So go figure. But it's just like, there's things that are out of your control. At one of my jobs that I had recently, the trainer who had us, he kept saying, like, focus on what you can control. I don't know what that was in relation to, but he said that a lot. And it kind of stuck with me, because there's things that are out of our control that we can't do anything about. But it is terrifying to know, like, I get scared to eat food. Like, I mean, like, it sounds crazy, but, like, even eggs. I didn't know eggs were very porous. So someone could essentially douse an egg in something and, like, you would never, it could soak through. Because I've thought of everything. I'm like, how would someone want to hurt me? Not to overthink, but it's the truth. And there's been no actual physical assault. Like, no one's physically accosted me, so proving that, it would be so different if I was, like, even if I was raped, you can go and say, hey, I've been raped. They do a rape test kit, they get the semen, whatever, and or even pubic hair or whatever. But this is, like, there's no touching involved. It was all just, like, it was like psychological warfare, gaslighting, hacking. But the stuff that would come up on my feed would coincide with stuff that was happening in my life. So that was the freaky part, and then you'll be totally innocent and they'll try to paint you out as, like, fake, attention seeking. Like, right now, like, I'm doing, I forgot, I think I found out about it, was it through Instagram last year? They're like, I'm doing, like, Maxim has this, like, cover girl competition thing, and I'm by no means, I don't consider myself a model at all. Like, there are people, like, who are gorgeous and voluptuous or whatever, and, they can do the whole, like, thing. I don't know how to do that. And I did take pictures for some, I guess you can we'll call it boudoir sexy photos that I did last year for a certain website and platform that I didn't know what I was getting into when I did that. But I do have some pictures saved from that, and I kind of emulated what I've seen in, like, Victoria's Secret's models magazines and Sports Illustrated, and I kind of went off of that and tried to do the best that I could, and I applied for, there's, like, a contest for Maxim or whatever, and I'm trying to utilize my resources to try to make extra income and stuff, and it's been hard, because it is frustrating, because you built up your whole life, right? Especially someone like me, I pride myself on education and learning and stuff, and to see all of that just fall apart is just insane. And it also makes dating really hard too, because I'm gonna kneel down for a second, I don't know. I mean, I ask myself, am I dateable? I mean, I would think, you know, for the most part, I would, oh, this is too bright for a second. I would say so, you know, I mean, I tell myself that I would be fun to, I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't consider myself a perfect person by any means, but like, I am very kind. I would be loyal to a fault. I will say this when it comes, and I was going to do a video on this actually, maybe I'll do it later today, that, I'm the kind of person, I don't know about other people, but like when it comes to like the dating apps and stuff, I literally will talk to like 5 or 6 different people at the same time. Because here's the thing, 2 of them won't reply back. You know, 2 or 3 people won't reply back. Maybe 4. Like you'll match with them and then they'll go ghost on you. So I don't even bother, like, I'm like, I match with them, but then the follow through isn't there. So I take it like, you know, so, but when I do, if there is a conversation, you know, I will continue the conversation with other people, and they're doing that too, because that's what's happening. It's what everyone's doing. We're all talking to different people, and that's what dating is. You go and you go on a date with one person maybe one day, and then the following weekend you go on a date with another guy, and then you kind of, there's that movie with Diane Keaton, who was so wonderful. May she, wherever you are, Diane Keaton, may you rest. Not, I don't say rest in peace, sounds so morbid. May you celebrate in heaven, wherever the fuck you are. You're right. I thought Diane Keaton was a wonderful actress. I loved her movies. But there's a movie called Because I Said So, and it's like the mom, Diane Keaton, matches, she makes like a profile for her daughter named Millie, who is played by Mandy Moore. And then one guy's name is Johnny, I think, and the other one of them, I don't remember if it's both of them or one of them. One of them I know it's her mom tried to set her up, and the other one I think she met organically. But it kind of like reminds, so she ends up dating 2 guys, literally almost, but like exclusive dating both of them at the same time. And then one of them finds out about the other one, and then he gets upset, and he's like, "Are you sleeping with him?" And she's like, You know, that I think is a little, that's kind of, that's shitty. When, unless you're in a polyamorous kind of situation, I think that's shitty to sit there and date 2 people at the same time. Like exclusively, like where you're going out on dates and like you are being intimate with them. That I think is like not cool. There's a scene too in the show New Girl where Schmidt, he says, like, he tells Nick, he's like, "Do you remember when I was supposed to, whatever, dating Elizabeth and whatever, and I said I broke up with Cece?" And then Nick is like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Yeah, I never broke up with Elizabeth." So Nick is like, "You're dating both of them at the same time?" And then, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "This is complicated." And he's like, "You can't have more than one wife or one girlfriend, Schmidt." He's like, "You have to pick one. You have to pick one." But nowadays, I don't know, like, I've seen so much, like, on, not YouTube, maybe on YouTube, I've encountered on the dating apps so much where people are in these, like, committed relationships, but they're open relationships, so they have, like, their main person, but then they go off and, like, they have another person. Like, I don't know if it's a mutual agreement between both parties where they're like, the guy and the girl, like, yeah, you can hook up. I don't know if that's considered swinging or if it's E&M, because swinging, I think that's when people, like, go and swap partners and they, like, go to this video is not made for children, I hope, but, like, and I didn't know what swinging was until, like, maybe, like, 2 years ago. But people do that, and they hook up and they go out with, and they swap partners and spouses, and you do wonder, like, does it lead to better, like, satisfaction amongst, like, spouses? But then here's the thing, folks, that I don't understand. When you get married, isn't it like that's like matrimony, at least in the Catholic world, that's like supposed to just be you and the other person. You know, not like A, B, and C, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not supposed to be, like, I don't know. I've been, like, for, like, a year now. I made maybe a video a few months ago, like a year or so ago, or a few months ago, about polyamory, trying to figure out, like, does it work? Can it work? I don't think it, I mean, unless there's, like, complete and total honesty, like, how would you do that? Like, let's say I started dating someone, right? And then they, like, I said, oh, can I go hang out or sleep with this other guy that I met on Tinder? But you're in, like, a committed relationship. Like, how does that even work out, you know? And then what if you fall for the other person? Like, how do you do that? I just, unless it's just casual, shallow sex, like, I can't do that. I don't know, I can't do that for me, personally. It's, you know. Or maybe people don't end up in relationships and they just hook up. I don't even know, but that's the thing though, because I've heard of ethical non-monogamy where like you have your person, but then that you openly date other people. But I'm like, but why be in a relationship? You know, what, like, isn't the point of a relationship to like build each other up, like be a form of support for each other? Like, I don't understand that at all. Like, I get that people can get bored because you're sleeping with the same person, right, every day. So novelty and spiciness and stuff like that, like, I don't know, like, I get like how people could probably get bored, right? And that's one thing I will say, if I'm being vulnerable, I get nervous about if I meet someone and then it would turn into like a roommate situation, you know, because you see people and like, I feel like you'd get so used to them, you know, like people that are in long-term relationships and stuff. I would hate to, like, I wouldn't, that's, you really wonder, how do people sustain long-term relationships and not get bored? Because if you're, you know, because I think, here's the thing, I think certain personalities would lend itself, I think certain personalities would be more successful in certain relationships versus other ones. You know, I think there's certain people who can, because look at the rate of infidelity and cheating, right? And if people go, oh, but we keep our love alive by letting us go off and hook up with whoever, you know. But then I'm like, why get married? Like, why do that, you know? Is it for tax purposes? Like, is it for like some civil union? Like, I don't get it. Is it to put on a front to like make families happy, you know? But then you look at how many people cheat on their spouse. You know what I mean? And think about the people that like, they end up getting divorced, you know, because you wonder, I go, why do people get divorced? Like, don't they look back on their life and they remember their wedding day and the hype that went into that and like, you know, the dress? And I mean, I'm not really too privy to that. I've always been someone like, I mean, I don't know. I take it back. When I was younger, I used to watch TLC, Say Yes to the Dress, with Randy and like Kleinfeld. Like, I don't know why I was into all that stuff, because it was so pretty. And it's so funny because no one's a virgin on their I mean, maybe some people are. If they're super religious, maybe they're virgins on their wedding days. But more often than not, people are not virgins. I'm like, why do we wear white when no one's, you know, why do we do that? But for me, I always say, I think eloping, I think, or unless you have a small ceremony with the people who you really love and care about, because weddings are so expensive. Oh my God, I'd rather go on a vacation somewhere, because you're only doing it for one day. It's like 3 or 4 hours, and then you have to pay for every single person that you invite to this thing, and it's like, you wear that dress literally for like, no, like, I would rather like have a cheap ass like party dress that I can wear sneakers with and just dance at like a club with like few close people and save a shit ton of money, or go to Vegas or something. I don't know. Like, I remember I heard that Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, they got married, I think, in Vegas. I think that was, don't quote me on that. I just think I remember when my mom used to watch their show all the time growing up in the morning. She told me that, and I was like, that's so cool. You know, because when you need all the fanfare and like, oh, I'm gonna invite 200 people to my wedding, and you know, I still don't even understand about rings and about carrots and shit. I still don't get it. I think it's more about like the union with someone, you know, because you're essentially promising, you know, to be that person's person, like to be their source of like everything, right? You marry their family, you marry their finances. And that's what I was gonna say, what's so frustrating is that, like, being 34 and, like, I had my shit together, you know? Like, I'm gonna do my makeup while I do this. Wait, no, where's my clippy? I had my shit together, you know? Like, I had over $150,000, almost $150,000 saved to my name when I was 29 years old. Or was it 27 or 29? And then it started, you know, I had Apple stock, I had retirement funds, like the 401k. When you work at a hospital, they match that for you and whatever. And then I had, what's it called? Apple stock, retirement. And then I just had money from, like, people growing up, like, when they, you know, gift money or, like, just, yeah. And now it's like I have to literally start all over again. And then in the meantime, I'm trying to survive not dying, you know, like trying to not get killed in the process, you know. I like to think of it as if I was being tested. The way that I go about it, I literally tell myself now, I'm like, Ashley, just pretend it's an experiment and that, you know, you're drinking medicine, even though it doesn't feel like medicine. I'm gonna put I started the other video before and I was like, I'm using this right now as a primer. I got this from Ipsy. It was called Fresh Phase. I showed it before because I was recording this before and then I had a phone call with the bank and then I had to stop. Actually, I'm gonna stand on, my knees hurt. But, like, you know, that is the frustrating part. And I go, how am I gonna explain that to someone if I date them or whatever, you know? Like, how am I gonna tell them, hey, by the way, like, it's not even, because there's people, like, when you get married or whatever, or you date, and they have, like, student loans and all this shit, and, you know, me, it's like, no, it's like, I have to work, like, I know there's debt consolidation and stuff like that, but it's like, it's just frustrating, you know, because you feel like you've been wronged, and then people try to flip the narrative, and then they try to paint you out like, oh, she's bad with money, and I'm like, bitch, I paid my fucking credit card bills. Like, I was the type of person that, like, let's say I went to Victoria's Secrets, right, like years ago, not the lingerie part, but the girly pink part. I used to get, like, these sweatpants that were, like, they were called the campus pants, and it said pink down the side, and they were they were called boyfriend pants, I think, or something, and they were really comfy. I wore them to yoga, to dance class, whatever, and I just lived in those pants. And then I used to wear sports bras because I used to go to yoga classes all the time and whatever, so I lived in, like, athletic wear. It was just easier, it's comfier. But anyways, when I used to go shopping when I was in Miami, I would immediately, because I had money. I was working, I was a waitress, I was just working in sales and, you know, doing, why is this so, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's from my hair. I wonder why, weird. This is hair product on my fingers. So I was able to afford the things that I wanted. Like, I would go to Merrick Park. If you don't know Merrick Park, it's a beautiful outdoor mall in Coral Gables. But, like, I would go to Nordstrom's and I would, like, if stuff was on sale or if I had a gift card, I would go there. I loved buying perfumes at Sephora. I was a VIP Rouge member for Sephora. I took a lot of pride. I had a lot of pride being a Sephora person. Like, I bought, like, that was when, like, Kylie Jenner first, and I never bought her lip wear, but that was when her lipsticks were just becoming very popular. I was, like, buying, like, roll-on fragrances, spray wear, like, everything. I was the queen of just, like, always finding good deals on perfumes and stuff, and, you know, and I will say this, I never was into super luxury stuff. Like, you know, in Sephora world, you know, Sephora itself is not like drugstore stuff. Sephora is like, I'm putting mascara on. I'm doing a get ready with me video, but I figured I would just, you know, so, and I did my foundation. I don't really use foundation. I use more like a cream, a tinted cream, because I have sensitive skin. But you know, Sephora is very high-end makeup and, you know, cosmetics and skincare and hair care, and I could afford it. Like, I remember when worked in Brickell Key in Florida, I used to like walk to the Brickell City Center, and I used to walk around for my break. I had like an hour break, and I would go there and I would like look at the stuff I loved, because I was a shopper. Like, I liked to shop, but I could afford it. I was making almost 60,000 or 7,000 a year between like 3 jobs, and then you know. But my point is that when I did work, I was working and all that, I would buy something, and I would pay it literally the same day. Like, I would buy it, and then I would pay off my credit card that day. I kid you not. Like, I had excellent credit. My credit score was like 790 or like 800. I was sitting pretty a few years ago. And then, you know, all this shit happened. Then I had to move. And then I kept being bullied everywhere I went. I had weird stuff happen with my air HVAC systems in every apartment. I felt like it was such cold air that my lungs were gonna like explode, or I was gonna have a stroke, because it was just, and I felt like all the life was being sucked out of me at the same time. So it was very scary. And so I kept moving over and over again. And so that took a toll, because then I had to, you know, you have to pay for a rental car. If you break a lease, you have to pay that. And then I had to start, and then not working, right? And I had to dip into my savings. So then that's how my debt started to accrue. And it's hard to explain that to someone, especially like if you're trying to date and stuff. Because then, you know, because that's the thing, I keep wondering what kind of man is gonna want to date someone. Like, personality wise, I know I do think that I'm pretty sure I'm fun. I don't know, I'm kind of like introverted, right? Like an introverted extrovert, or like an ambivert. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it's not like I went to medical school and I acquired debt because of, you know, medical school or law school or something. It's because I've been through fucking hell. You know, and how do I explain that to a guy? You know? Or like, how do I start to feel safe, you know, like if you go on a date, right? When people go on dates, they go on coffee dates, they go to restaurants, they sit across from each other, or they sit next to each other, they go to a bar, and I forget this, and I'm like, how am I gonna do this, you know? And when you date also, you buy people gifts, like when you're thinking of them, or you get them a greeting card, or I don't know, a gift card. I don't know, you know, and I love to give people gifts. I was the queen of gift giving, you know, a few years ago. Because I usually like to get sentimental things too, not just like shallow, like, oh, here's a watch. Like, no, like I like to really put, like, if I dated someone, let's say, and they liked Star Wars, you know, I don't know, I would get like a collector's item for that person of like whatever character they liked, you know, I don't know. That's just how I am. And now it's like I'm at the behest. I feel fortunate, though. I will say that I have family that are, you know, they are helping me. And that's another thing. If I'm being quite candid, it's frustrating because now I feel like, you know, I owe them, or like, it's a burden, you know, like, and I don't want to be a burden to anybody. And I did start a GoFundMe at one point, but it's like to beg for money or ask for money is just so like, ugh. You know, I never thought I would have to do that in my life, ever. So it's just weird. It's like being in limbo. It's a weird place to be. And then experiencing cyberbullying at the same time. Sitting on my bathtub. And I feel like using a credit card at all would be detrimental, you know, but like I need groceries. I literally do surveys to try, I make like very few cents on surveys, but it adds up. But like, it is just frustrating to see like your whole life get destroyed because of just lies or one person's deception or just a prank gone wrong. I don't feel like it's a prank, but it's not funny to me, you know. It's not funny at all. and I'm trying to, you know, and so like also too trying to heal from everything, and then trying to get a job, right? Because here's the thing, when you're gang stalked and targeted, they infiltrate your jobs too. Like they manage to hire people to have you be gang stalked at your job and, you know, mess with you and provoke you and distract you and stuff. And there's explaining it is hard. There's some people on YouTube who explain it way better than I can. But they somehow even therapy, like I did a therapy service that was discounted, and one of the girls literally, like, they had I think I mentioned this in my other video, the girl spent like 10 minutes out of the session, the peer group session, talking about how her headphones weren't working, and her name was Ashley Coward. I don't think that was her. I think that's such a coincidence, you know, and it's my name's Ashley, you know. Yeah. So it's just it's weird. The whole thing is weird. I can just spray more stuff. It's the whole thing is weird. It's like someone watches your life, right? This is what it feels. Someone watches your life. They try to do mind games with you about your life. I'm just spraying some stuff to soak up the oil. I have naturally oily hair. But now it feels really, it's just, I don't know, I think I put too much hair product, but it's supposed to soak up the oil. So navigating this whole thing is hard, because I demand authenticity, right? Like, I want people to be who they are, to show up as they are. I do that for me, you know, and there's some things, like I said, are out of my control. I can't control certain things or outcomes, but only how I react to it. But I do feel like when you're gang stalked and targeted, your life gets put under a microscope, and like there's these people who want to like control every aspect of it, you know, from like what you eat to when you sleep, or like who your friends are, and you know, you kind of become almost like a guinea pig of sorts. I know that sounds weird, but that's the best way that I can explain it. I'm gonna put my eyeliner on now. So I make for the worst get ready with me. Oh, let's do. I wish I could change it up and do something interesting. Maybe I'll put a different eyeshadow on or something. I even get scared of my cosmetics, because when you're in targeting stuff, I've heard they like mess with your cosmetics and your like anything. They could put anything like chemicals and stuff in your things. But I also have highlighter here. I don't know. I'm really this whole thing is just so whack to me. And I keep wondering, like, is it gonna end? When is it gonna end? Am I gonna be 40 years old and still like going on Bumble and like, you know, trying to date and like have a normal life? You know what I mean? Like, is this gonna be my life forever? I don't know. Am I ever gonna get like the answers that I deserve? Is anyone gonna ever come up and be like, because I have a feeling like I know what's going on, but like people don't want to address the truth, and they don't want to be honest about what they did to me. You know, they'd rather go to their grave like saving face and being like, no, we didn't do anything, you're delusional, or you're hyper vigilant and paranoid. I'm like, excuse me, I have some pictures. Like when I was in Connecticut, there was like a bunch of cars, like they look like police cars, but I'm not sure, and I'm not kidding. They when I was driving, because I stopped off in Connecticut because I don't remember where I was going. I don't know if I was heading up to Vermont or Pennsylvania or something, maybe. But like I remember I stopped off at Yale because I always wanted to go to like just to see what Yale campus is like. Because you know, Rory Gilmore and one of my favorite shows, Gilmore Girls, she ended up going to Yale. She was supposed to go to Harvard. She went to Yale. But I wanted to walk around the campus. It was so cool. But when I was there, I saw like a bunch of cars were around me, and their license plates all said 6666666. I'm not kidding. I have pictures of it. It was so bizarre. And amongst other things that happened, and I'm like, I do not understand what the fuck is going on. I was very confused, and I'm like, aren't those like devil numbers, you know? So I'm like, was someone trying to like wish me ill by like driving a bunch of cars with 666? I mean, that's weird, you know? Because in the Bible it's the mark of the beast, 666, allegedly. I mean, in the angel number world, I think it has a different connotation, but like, to me, I'm like, no. So, yeah. That was odd for me. But I do wonder, like, when is this ever gonna stop? Is my food ever gonna be left alone? You know, I feel like also people try to I know it sounds crazy, but like modify my behavior by like messing with certain foods. Because I do love sweets, I do. Like, I do love sugar. I know sugar's not great for you, I get it, it causes inflammation. But like having one dessert, you know, or two or three desserts a week. I mean, granted, I was a sugar fiend. I was, like, at night, I was having like, and it wasn't like emotional eating or binge eating. I just got used to like growing up. We used to have an ice cream sundae almost like every day. I kid you not. Like I used to mimic like Cold Stone. Like I used to get a slab growing up. Like we used to put in the freezer, and then I used to get the ice cream and get 2 scoopers like Edie's ice cream, and I used to get M&Ms and stuff. So I used to, and my Nana too, every Friday would buy me cookies when we went to her house. And I just got used to having like, I don't know, I guess I equate desserts and sweets with like comfort, because it is kind of comfort food. So maybe my brain has this association of like desserts, sugar, coffee, café con leche, whatever. I don't know, it's nostalgia. But anyways, you know, as of late I've had weird reactions to stuff, to desserts and stuff. So like I get very wary, and chocolate too. And I used to be able to eat chocolate very easily, like M&Ms, Oreos, and I don't anymore because I've had weird situations with that. So anyhow, right now I'm doing eyeliner. See, I'm working on this eye. Now I'm gonna do this eye. It does look different. Look how different it's like, like night and day. But I will say this, makeup is a lot of fun. Like I said, I was a Sephora VIP or VIB Rouge member. So depending on how much you spend, you get assigned a certain tier, you know, as a Sephora shopper. And then if you get like perks and stuff. So you get to go to like openings for like, or like the grand premieres for I don't know, different product launches. Like when Selena Gomez did her Rare Beauty product launch, that was a big thing. And which I love her aesthetic for her line. It's so pretty. Who else? When Fenty, Rihanna came out with her thing, that was a big deal. But I was the queen of like trying to find, I'm very big on like portable fragrances. I used to love having, because I didn't really feel, like I liked having like my perfumes on me. I always liked smelling good, like when I was a waitress and stuff, because I worked for a restaurant called Ruth Chris for many years, or several years. And you have to have, it's kind of like Hillstone. If you don't know what Hillstone is, it used to be called Houston's, and you have to be very like, or maybe I'll put on, I haven't put on any lipstick in ages. Maybe I'll put on a lipstick, why not? Or actually, no, I'm not, because I don't want to waste it. I'll do I have some chapstick, so I'll use that. It's like tinted chapstick. So, but you had to have a certain aesthetic. You had to look, you have to do red lipstick, you have to put your hair in a bun, like a very chic, like chignon, like a low French style bun, and you have to look presentable, you know, and very chic and sleek. So I did that for, you know, and so I would buy like the matte lip stain. I tried to do my makeup as best as I could, do my hair as best as I could. And there it is, I will say this, when a woman or even a man looks presentable, there is a different vibe. When someone, not in a very arrogant, prideful sense, but like when you put effort into your appearance, you radiate differently. And that, to me, that's part of self-care. And after being targeted for so many years and like having to feel like I needed to survive this shit, I kind of let my appearance go. And then when all the food stuff started happening, I really like, I didn't even give a shit about how I didn't care about makeup. I didn't care about how my hair looked. But if you want to be on the road to recovery, to heal yourself from trauma, taking care of yourself is imperative. And you don't ever, it's kind of like, when people say, oh, why do you dress for other people? Why do you put on makeup if you're not going to go out and no one's going to see you? You do it for yourself. You never want to dress for other people in your life. You want to dress because it's for you. And I remember when I was in Vermont, or even before that, and I loved, and I still do love it. I don't have the funds to buy anything from it. Stitch Fix and Adore Me was another company. I think they're a subsidiary of Victoria's Secret, but I'm not sure. I think they're affiliated with that. But it's the more affordable thing. It's called Adore Me. And they have like pajamas, loungewear, sleepwear, athletic wear, some clothes. It's like lingerie and stuff. And then also Wantable is really good as well too. These like subscription-based services. Because I'm telling you, for the life of me, I could not shop. I tried shopping at like Macy's, JCPenney, like in store. Nothing ever fit me, ever. I went through like 20 to 30 clothing articles or things in dressing rooms. Nothing ever fit me. It was too baggy, whatever. This whole outfit is Stitch Fix. And I think I showed this before. I've had this for like a year, but it's very comfy. Yeah, so like I used to get stuff off of Stitch Fix, and I loved it. And I remember like I didn't even go, like when I went to Vermont, I didn't even go anywhere. I did date. I tried to date certain people, but I didn't dress for them. I dressed for myself. I always dress for myself. For the past like 5 or 6 years, I always said, you dress for you, and you want to, because when you feel comfortable in your skin, because my style may not be your style. I don't even really know what my style is. I'm just very, like, I don't know if it's coastal casual or just like flowery. I love dresses. I love flowy things. I do love tank tops, like very summery clothing. And then when it comes to winter time, it's like, oh God, I don't know if I can do winters again, like with the snow and all that, because it's just such a different way of living. Even the boots and the hair, like the hats and the coats, and I will say it's cozy. I will say this, it's cozy to do winter time, like when it's Christmas time, and it's like you get to come in, you sit by like a warm fire and have hot cocoa. But when you're outside and it's like 20 degrees or like 10 degrees, it is not fun, especially being someone who's originally from the subtropical climates. It's a whole different ballgame. For me, it used to be when Miami, when it gets to 50 degrees, when it's like 60 degrees, when it's like 55 degrees, that's like, that's winter time. That's when you bring out the Ugg boots and the earmuffs and the scarf, and it's like, that's our winter time in Florida. Or anywhere like coastal or whatever, the Keys. And then you go to like up north and you're like, oh my God, they do like 2-degree weather, and you're like, how the fuck you're like, it's so crazy. It's so different. So different. I did my eyeliner. Now I'm gonna do eyeshadow. So I will sit down for a second. But it is just, it's crazy. And then when you survive all this shit, people want to label you like a witch. I think that's so funny to me when people try to call someone just because they get lucky, or like they persevere, or they're resilient. How people are like, she must be using magic. And I'm like, bitch, I don't know the fuck to do magic. I don't know what, like, I don't have a bunny rabbit that pops out of a hat. I don't know magic. I don't really, I do believe what you speak, like how you feel about yourself, that I do believe in color theory. I believe that our energy explains us before anything else. I believe that the thoughts you think, smells, aromatherapy is important. I do believe that aromatherapy plays a part. I mean, look at like if you use tangerine, right? Orange tangerine essential oil, that's revitalizing. That's very energizing. If you use lavender, lavender is very soothing and calming. Chamomile is very soothing and calming. Eucalyptus is kind of invigorating, right? If you're into like essential oils and whatnot. Vanilla cashmere is very cozy. You know, coconut that can evoke feelings of like being on a tropical island. So maybe that's more playful and like exuberant, right? But everything I think are what's it called? Accommodations, your surroundings. That's important. All of this stuff feeds into your mood and your affect. That's why when I worked as a child specialist, I was so keen on making sure that the environment, the aesthetic, everything, the ambiance was to a patient's liking. Because sometimes I've learned that all someone needs is a change of environment. All someone needs is an encouraging poster, encouraging words, a plant, a flower, an orchid. It's not always like what we think, like how you solve. That's why when people, especially clinicians, like psychologists, psychiatrists, if they're very by the book and clinical, I think it's very easily to get lost in translation of different things of like when you're so technical and clinical and you figure out that you're talking to humans, right? That humans, it's if you take a holistic approach to healthcare or recovery or healing, you don't look at the person and label them with an ailment and you define them by their mental, that mental ailment. You go by holistically. You look at everything. You look at their environment. You look at the way that they were raised. You look at their diet, their exercise regimen or lack thereof. You look at their immediate surroundings. Do they live in squalor? Do they, is it safe? Like, is their environment safe to even be in? And this is all stuff that I've kind of taken into consideration. And when I went from Indiana to here, I will say I feel very grateful. And they are renovating the building. I know, because I kind of made this whole big deal about, downstairs this and this has happened. And it really is true though. Like, I'm not kidding. I've been through really scary stuff. And it's hard to prove, because how can I can't capture like vapors, toxic vapors, and bring it to the police. I can't do that. I will say that there are outward signs of manifestation of physical depreciation or decompensation, such as like low oxygen saturation, or if I experience cyanosis or something, or if I get like a paralytic, if I get or something, there are outward signs of that. And that's why you get lab work done, right? You get blood work done to see what's going on internally, because doctors are kind of like detectives. But the thing is, when you get targeted and gang stalked and stuff, people are liable to not disclosing things about you or lying about your health so as to keep you sick. And that's not fair. And I do believe that's what happened to me on numerous occasions, because I remember very distinctly when I was in Virginia, I went about the same time. I remember I went to an urgent care that was affiliated with a very well-known hospital healthcare system there. And then I, through Medicaid, and then I, on my own volition, I paid out of pocket like $500 to $600 to go to these homeopathic, like holistic practitioners, and they did their own blood work. And I had Epstein-Barr virus. I showed positive for antibodies for Lyme disease, and thyroid issues. What else? It was Lyme disease, and I go Lyme disease. I was like, what? And that kind of was alarming. And then womanly, like fertility issues, but just womanly things too, like going on. And mind you, and I went to the doctor. I remember I was sick as a dog. I was so sick, and the guy didn't show any empathy. He was an older guy, barely could look me in the eye. And I said, I feel horrible. And I said, I feel like I have shards of glass in my throat. My nose was itchy. I know that's something spiritual. I keep forgetting what an itchy nose means in spirituality. But he didn't care. He was a very heavy-set man, kind of obese, funny enough. And he was a doctor. And I said, and he did a strep test for me, and he said it came back negative. I don't know if he tested for mono or anything, but like, I think he did. And I think he said it came back negative. But then my other thing came back positive with these other people. So it's like, you know, who's trustworthy? Isn't that, and I'm pretty sure, isn't that medical malpractice? Like, if someone lies to you about your medical results about something, wouldn't that, like, can you imagine though, like, in all seriousness, like, imagine if I had some really shocking, like, debilitating, like, what if I had cancer? Like, what if I got thyroid cancer, or I had ovarian cancer, or like the first, you know, oncogenesis, like the first signs, you know, of something happening to me, and because of targeting or wrongful, like, maliciousness or whatever, someone didn't disclose that to me. Like, that's unlawful. Like, you know, like, that's illegal. That's medical malpractice. The first thing in medical school they teach you is thou shalt do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath. I'm sure in law school it's something else too, that they probably have some kind of thing that you're supposed to look out for the best interest of your client, or thou shalt not engage in any unlawful, whatever, I don't know. But to me, my health is still a mystery. I swear to God, it's such a mystery. I do wish I could take a food allergy and insensitivity test. Because in all seriousness, like, I have had weird reactions to cranberry juice. I don't know if it's the acidity or something. Milk, I also kind of, there's tomato sauce too. I get, not pomodoro sauce. Pomodoro sauce is less pungent, less acidic, I think. It's marinara sauce. Like, when they use a lot of heavy tomatoes and spices, that kind of bothers me. But I never thought I've had celiac or this, you know, because I know celiac disease is a thing and people are allergic to gluten. But it's like, I'm kind of tired of, like, what I surmise that people were trying to get. Like I was trying to eat chicken, like a few weeks ago, and I haven't had chicken in like the longest time because I had a weird reaction when I ate chicken recently from a grocery store, mind you. And it was sealed, it was packaged. So, I don't know. I just think people really, like, did really horrible, cruel, heinous things to me, and they don't feel bad about it at all. And that's so psychologically disturbing to me, that another human could hurt another human, like torturing them, knowing that they're putting them in pain, when they have everything in their power to stop it. I will never understand that as long as I live. And it's like, I don't want sympathy, I just want people to do the right thing. And if someone did lie about me, and that's what all this started about, or someone tried to frame me for something, because I keep going, why would anyone do this to someone, you know? Like, what good does it do them? I don't know if I should do this because this looks kind of dark. Oh, this one, oh, that one went away though. There's like barely anything in here. I don't know, whatever, I'll use it. You would think I'm like getting ready for a date by like how dolled up and stuff I'm getting, but I'm not. I bet. Oh, that's another thing with the dating thing. It's been so weird as of late, if people want to know what that's like. So I was supposed to go, not supposed to, like, some of the people that I've spoken to, like, it's so weird. You match with them, and then some people talk to you for like a day, and then, you know, after, like, oh yeah, let's exchange numbers, whatever, and then you talk for a day, and then the next day, zero. They go ghost. And I'm like, what the fuck? It doesn't faze me anymore at all. I'm like, I'd be shocked. Like, I'll be shocked if, like, honestly, if it gets to, like, if I get to, like, a week of consistently talking with someone, I will be shocked if it's, like, consistent communication. But then again, my situation is very unique. and different, you know? So trying to expect someone to, you know, actually be proactive and stuff, it's because it's, and I still don't, like, here's the thing, I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know what's going on. I just put the eyeshadow on. I'm the worst get ready with me narrator or whatever. But it's more so just like a vlog, I guess, you know, giving updates about my journey. And the one takeaway, because I don't just want to sit here and talk about my life. The reason why I did the YouTube thing is because I wanted to provide some form of peer support for people. I wanted to show people that, like, you can still go through really hard things, and you can, in your own time, I'm sorry if I cry, but you can get through them. You know, you can get through. Like, it's not easy. And people will, you know, they'll say, oh, it's magic. You know, it's sorcery. She's a Jezebel siren spirit. You know, and it's like, no. I wish it was more interesting. Like, that would be very entertaining, but no. It's just perseverance. It's sheer willpower. It's the belief in the hope for better days, because I've seen good days. Like, I'm gonna fix with it. I've witnessed good things happen to people, you know? I've seen it happen in my life and other people's lives. So I tell myself, you know, that it's possible. You know, I'm gonna walk with this. I'll go to my computer. I could show my Excel spreadsheet that I'm very proud of. My Bonnie is out like a light. Oh no, she just opened her eyes right now. Disregard the trash bag. Hi, Bibber. Hello. Are you stretchies? Are you stretchies? She's sleepy. Are you sleepy? She's like, yes, I'm very sleepy. I let her hang out there. This is Excel spreadsheet. If you want to know, I'm very proud of it. It's all color coded. I have my little, see, it looks crazy, but see, I'm on top of it. And I'm doing a financial literacy course. I have my notes. I have my, what the heck? I have my notes. It's through Khan Academy. No, not C-O-N, K-H-A-N. Sal Khan, you know, from Khan Academy. So these are my notes. What is financial literacy? Because the thing is, like I said, I was very good with money. I'm not bad with money. It's just, it accumulated over time. So just because I kept moving from place to place. But I literally, which I might do now, I might take some time to finish, because I legitimately did not understand. They should really implement a financial literacy course for like middle school students, or at least high school students. Like, when you get freshman year, they should do like financial literacy 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, because I did not know, like, budgeting, interest. I don't know what a CD account was. I still don't know. A certificate of deposit, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a high yield savings account was, or APR, and this is a Schumer box. I didn't know what a Schumer box was. So, you know, I don't know. I love learning. I love this shit. I'm like a lifelong student. I think the more you know, the better. But yeah, I call it my bill pay spreadsheet. So that's my bill pay spreadsheet. I'm very proud of it. I have my little fee. See, I color coded it, so if it's paid, then it's paid here, whatever. And then partial payment, if my account is in good standing, that's green. If it's past due. So I'm on top of it, folks. Like, if anyone ever tries to tell anyone otherwise and say, oh, she's not on top of her finances, no, I'm on top of it. I try. So one thing I will say that's fun, if you do credit cards, there's like rewards cards, and there's cards that you can earn points on, like City Advantage. American Airlines Advantage and like Delta Sky Miles. You can get miles on a credit card. So then that's the smart way to use a credit card, is like try to find rewards credit cards, because then they will give you money back. Like Rakuten, or used to be Ebates, you get money back on that. And I'm not sponsored to say this at all, by the way. I'm just saying this like from my life. This is what I've done. So then, but like I have, from using my Nordstrom credit card, I had $50 in Nordstrom's notes. So literally I just bought a necklace. I hope it doesn't get tainted with anything. I pray to God, because I've been without a cross necklace for because it broke back like I think in 3 years ago, I think. When did it break? Was it 3 years ago or 2 years ago? But I bought it at Target for like $20, and then it lasted me I don't know how long. I think because Bonnie by accident, I think her nail got on it like 2 years ago, and it broke, and I was really sad about it. So, yeah. So now I bought a new one. It was like $49, but I was like, what else am I gonna get with my money? But my point is that you get rewards coupons and stuff if you use certain credit cards. So, so yeah. But I write little notes in my thing, I have a bunch of credit cards that are closed now, which is frustrating. Like I used to have Disney card. Disney, if you used a Disney card, by the way, you get to just pick a design for your Disney card. Mine is, I think, Tiana right now. It used to be the Disney Castle, but you get Disney Rewards dollars, and then you transfer them to a Disney Rewards card, and then you can use those at Disney.com or actual Disney parks, which is fun. I had a Marriott credit card. I had, what else? Amazon. I loved my Amazon credit card. They give you Amazon cashback, and then you get to use that cashback for whatever. Like I used to buy books. I used to buy stationery. TJ Maxx. Oh my God, TJ Maxx rewards card. I used to get $10 gift certificates after using my TJ Maxx credit card. And that was good for Home Goods and, was it Marshalls? I don't know. So, yeah, City Advantage, Venmo. Oh my God, Venmo credit card. I haven't even looked at Venmo. Oh my God. I don't even know what's going on with my Venmo credit card. Disregard the sirens that are happening. Well, you probably can't even hear the sirens. But there's Venmo, and then I had my, Instacart. Instacart credit card was awesome. Instacart was like, that one, basically, they give you, if you use Instacart credit card, I think it's to Chase Bank, right? And then you get cash back from using it, and then you can use that for buying whatever other stuff, groceries and what have you. So I highly recommend that. So yeah, Wayfair. I had a Wayfair credit card as well. I swear to God, this city is just sirens after sirens after sirens after sirens. It never stops. When you live more rural, in like the countryside, you don't have to hear sirens. That's probably why I like Vermont so much. At the end of the day, I wanted to leave Vermont, but like at the end of the day, I'm like, it was so much more quiet and secluded. When you live city life, it's like nonstop. Anyways, so that's the latest and the greatest. If you got this far in watching the video, then God bless your soul. Can't say I'm the best get ready with me person, but I just feel like, it is, I wanted to give a glimpse into my life. I also just want to show that, like I said, you can go through hard things and you could still show up every day. And I did an Instagram post yesterday, basically like saying, and my life is nowhere near perfect right now. I'm still unemployed. I haven't found a job that fits for me. Like I would, if you say, if you worked in healthcare, if you were a child life specialist, you should go back and do that. Well, I have this one here, and I'm also kind of skeptical to completely be totally trusting that no one would come into my apartment and rearrange stuff or put scary stuff on the doorknobs and stuff. So it's not that easy, I wish it was. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. And I know I still have my capabilities. I know that I still have it in me to be able to work with kids and, you know, work in the hospital setting, but it's gonna take me time to feel. And plus, I don't have my certification anymore. It lapsed, so I'm waiting to hear back about that because I did an appeal for that. Anything else? I think I try to find like remote jobs. I do, like, there's different platforms that you can go. I have heard of, like, there's like flex jobs. I don't really find that too helpful. There's what else? It was flex jobs. I've heard of Career Hound recently, but it's a subscription based thing. I don't know. I'm trying my best. And I also, I don't know whether to, like, reach out to recruiters and be like, hey, you know, and the thing is, for me, I have so many, like, there's gaps. So, you know, you're only supposed to have, like, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 jobs in, like, a span of 2 to 4 years, right? So if you're constantly changing jobs and flitting from job to job, that looks really bad to an employer. But they don't know my story. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know I've been drugged, poisoned, had gases sprayed on like the fucking Nazis did to the Jews. They don't know that, you know. And I can't be like, yeah, please give me a job. I've been so tortured and horrible, like, you know, please. I've been trying so, like, I would, honestly, I would give anything to work for a company that I would be respected at and appreciated. And I'm not the kind of person that seeks to go all the way to the top. You know, I'm not like that kind of person. I'm more of like the student. Like, I'll sit back and I will assess and I will soak it in like a sponge. And I'm kind of like a chameleon. Like, I will adapt myself to try to fit in, not change myself or my demeanor, but I will adjust and adapt as I see fit to do a job well, if that makes sense. You know, like, however that looks, whatever that role is. And yeah. But when you're gang stalked and targeted, they find ways to, like, bully you and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I need to work for a company that I know is, like, by the book, follows the rules, can't be bought off or bribed, you know, or believe lies about someone, because I don't even know what people say about me. You know, I have no clue. I could be blacklisted for all I know. At this point, I could be blacklisted because I've left, you know, I start a job and then I leave it after like 2 months because the bullying with the coworkers and stuff gets so bad. And it's like, they use little memes and stuff in the chats. And I don't know how they even end up knowing about me. I'm like, how do they, you know, it's just, and I don't want to say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because, like, when you speak that into your future, you kind of solidify it, you know, like, because what you speak and say, words are powerful. And so if you sit there and like complain, like, I realize, like, I don't want to complain so much. That's why I'm trying to, like, figure out a way to kind of segue into, like, how can I offer some sort of respite for people if they do watch my video? Like, what can I offer to somebody, and to try to make this easier for them? Because if you look at me, you'd say, oh wow, she's handling this so well. No, I don't. There was a video I did where I literally was, like, crying my eyes out because I was so distraught. And I will say this, that there are people, when you're targeted, people are preying on your downfall. They thought that the trickery and the dishonesty and the deceit was going to take you out, and that you would eventually take yourself out. And then when you didn't, you kind of throw them for a loop. And then they try to frame you to get you incarcerated for stuff. And it's like water off a duck's back, you know. And the running joke for me with these people, with cyberbullies, whoever they are, wherever they exist, is that I'm like Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek. Because in that family, they went from being like really rich and wealthy to like living in poverty and living in a motel in Schitt's Creek. You know, it was a great show. Dan Levy and Eugene Levy, like that was genius what they were. But you know, I'm nothing like that character. She was a little more dense and kind of stupid. I mean, Annie Murphy, she played the part really, really well, but I'm nothing like her at all. Even though our names both start with the letter A, I'm nothing like that. Far from it. I care more about education. Like, I mean, I do like shopping and stuff, but that's not my world. I don't prefer designer stuff. I prefer, like, sales and bargains and whatnot. So, again, and I will say, if you happen to know my story and you have insight into it or intel, please. I'm, you know, in Chicago, Illinois. I've been for 6 years trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Disregard the sirens again, because the sirens are going off. It's really funny. I will say this, like, every time I do a recording or something, this, I don't know, maybe because I know in the gang stalking targeting world, they call it noise harassment. And I've seen it in other people's videos that are targeted. They'll be talking and then you'll hear like, meow, meow, and I'm just like, what is the point behind that? So usually it's called noise harassment. But if you can't hear it, then, but it is pretty loud, it's pretty prominent. It's supposed to be, I guess, like a distraction to, like, you know, it is what it is. When people go low, you go high. That's all I tell myself. When they go low, you go high. Don't stoop to their level and get perturbed or provoked, because that's exactly what they want. But I'm grateful to still be alive. Thank God. Because at this point, I don't know anymore. Honestly, I really don't know. I wake up, I go to sleep and I'm like, am I going to survive? Am I going to have gases sprayed on me in this apartment building? You know? I don't know. I always think that radiator right there, because there's a radiator for, so the heat in Chicago, I didn't know the heat is regulated. I didn't know this. There's no thermostat in here. So this is a studio apartment, so I moved from the one bedroom to a studio. It's actually kind of cozy. I actually prefer, sorry, the closet looks like a mess. But to this, the kitchen is right there. I haven't done my Yelp review for it yet, and I need to. But that's a radiator there, so, and my air purifier. Yeah, so, but I think though in other apartments, I do think they have thermostats. Like they can regulate the heat. But if you live in like maybe a state, like city, like not Section 8 housing or something like that, but I think they regulate the heat for you because the utilities are all like covered or built in or whatever. So it's a different way of living. I didn't expect to be in this kind of situation, but here we are, and you make the best of it, right? And I'm hoping that I can, I don't know, I'm really hoping that in a few years, what's it called, in 5 years, I can say that I paid off, you know, the credit card debt that I have, and I can go to Disney. In fact, there's also too, I learned it's in Carmel, Indiana, but it's called the Cake Bake Shop, and the owner, she has, I forgot her name, and I think her name's Gwendolyn. I think her name's Gwendolyn. Such a beautiful name. But she has the Cake Bake Shop in Orlando. I think it's in Disney Springs. No, it's in Boardwalk. I love the Boardwalk Hotel. Oh my God, I love the Boardwalk Hotel in Orlando, in Disney. So the Walt Disney Swan and Dolphin, and then Contemporary Resort, and I don't know, I like them all. Caribbean Beach Resort, Coronado Springs Resort, Beach Club Resort. I love them all. I don't know which one to choose. But Disney's Boardwalk Hotel, it's part of one of the Grand Deluxe hotels, but they have the Cake Bake Shop. And mind you, this cake is like super expensive. It's like for a slice, it's a lot of money. It's a lot. But I'm just, oh my God, I would love to I don't work there, but oh my God. I will achieve my goal, hopefully, one day. And every day, you know, every day is different. It's not easy. You know, this whole stupid thing that happened to me and happening to other people. But you have to make the effort to try, you know. When it feels really hard, just try. Just sometimes trying and showing up is enough. And I've learned, let me tell you, one thing, I'm going to pause this for a second. One thing I've learned and I'm going to leave it with this, and this is kind of what I did for my post on Instagram recently. I don't want my Instagram account to only be of like pictures of me and doing like, because for UGC I was trying to do user generated content to try to get brand deals and promote their brand, and they pay you, or I don't know. So I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I'm gonna try, right? It doesn't hurt to try. I could fall flat on my face and fail, but at least you try. But if I get to inspire people in the process, then that's a good thing. So I did a post recently and I said, I came to this realization that I used to equate success as being getting straight A's in school, making your parents proud, and then learning as much as you can and doing as much as you can and being as productive as possible and going above and beyond in any job. And maybe not getting recognized for it, but just doing a job well done, whether it's in school, work, relationships, and I realize sometimes just being is enough. Sometimes just waking up in the morning is enough. Because there were days a few weeks ago where I was so tired. I didn't want to get up. Every bone in my body was aching. I had no energy. I didn't want to, I wanted to eat, but I didn't want to eat because I was scared that I was going to get sick. And I don't have schizophrenia. I'm not bipolar. I don't have borderline personality disorder. I don't have oppositional defiant disorder. I don't have OCD. I'm not autistic. No one's ever told me I'm on the spectrum or anything. But, because I'm the kind of person, if I, for example, I love making to-do lists. I am like the queen. I have a to-do list over here on this notepad, and then I have another book over here. I bought this at Walgreens. It's my journal, and I will write, I start to-do lists, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I have some, and then I did another paper to-do list, and I highlight and I cross things off. I have really big handwriting. But, and I like to write in the color pink as well. But I used to feel like I had to do so much. And I don't know if that's type A personality or kind of neurotic or whatnot, but I used to feel like if I wasn't doing something, and granted, I'm not employed right now. I don't have a job, and, I don't have any income coming in, and that is frustrating. I don't feel less than or inferior because of it. It's a circumstance, and circumstances change. And the more proactive you are and the more you try, it'll come. And I always say the right people, places, and things come to you at the right time. And I do believe that you have to take initiative and be proactive in making that happen. It's not going to come from sitting and wallow. I mean, it's okay to wallow a little bit. It's okay to be sad. It's like the movie Inside Out when you have all the different little characters. That's what makes us human. Is emotions, and emotions are energy in motion. So it's like you have to sit back and kind of you have to, if you feel sad, you feel sad. If you feel pain, you feel the pain. If you're angry, you get angry, and that's human. It's normal. You don't want to sit in that emotion. You want to let it be like waves that just pass through you. But I realized for the first time, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try. I used to get really hard on myself and say, okay, I need to have the schedule. I need to have the routine. Healing takes time. I forget, I used to do yoga more avidly, and I remind myself that when you practice yoga, you practice mindfulness, and you're supposed to be in the present moment. And I forget that, especially I feel like because of trauma and all the betrayal and the backstabbing and the pain and the hurt that I've gone through, my brain, my focus and concentration is lacking. It's depreciated significantly. And so I will go and I will flip. I have a hard time focusing on one thing and sustaining my focused attention for a long term on one thing, because I'll feel like I have so many things to do, and I will flip from one thing to the next, and I won't complete what I start. And that's not a good character trait for a job, you know, when they do the assessments and they're like, can you focus on multitasking? Can you complete something in one sitting? And honestly, I'm like, do I give the right answer? Or do I give them what they want to hear? I don't know. But in all honesty, my focus and concentration has suffered significantly. But as of recent, I told myself, I go, Ashley, like, give yourself grace. If no one's told you that you're doing a good job, tell yourself you're doing a good job. You don't need to hear it from some random motivational speaker on Instagram. You don't need to hear it on a TED Talk. The fact that you, and if you're kind of like me, the fact that if you're like me in the sense that you get hard on yourself, and I've always had perfectionist tendencies within myself where I literally, like, I put this pressure on myself. And it's funny because, like, when I did sales, like a few months ago, and even a few years ago, people, they ask you, like, in interviews, well, how do you stay motivated? Like, if you get knocked down or whatever, or like, you know, they do healthy competition between your cohorts and your peers in sales jobs. And I'm like, I don't even need that, because I light a fire under my butt automatically. Like, I put enough pressure on myself to excel and exceed. I don't need someone else to do that for me. So I have that same principle, that same feeling of urgency in my life in general. And sometimes I feel like, you know, I don't have enough time, or, you know, and it's funny because when you just take a moment to stop and you're like, you're okay, you're doing okay, you're just breathe and you'll get to it. It'll all work out. Just breathe and don't worry about all this minutia and this stuff. That'll fall into place. That's what I remind myself of. To give yourself grace. Because in all honesty, you know, especially betrayal, trauma, and deception, and trickery, and dishonesty, corruption, all those horrible things, healing may not come in the way that you expect it to. You may find healing, maybe you find healing just from, like, I've been able to sleep for like, because usually I have nightmares, or I wake up gasping for air, like, you know, like in a fright, just as like an autonomic response or something. I know there's something called dysautonomia, but like, I haven't had restful sleep in a while. And just recently I had a really good sleep, and my sleep schedule is kind of erratic too. And I give myself grace with that, because one day I will have a normal sleep schedule again. But right now I listen to my body. It's kind of like intuitive eating. You listen to your gut and you figure out what you're hungry for, and you eat based off of that, you know. And I do intuitive sleeping, you know. And everyone's healing journey is going to look different, you know. And I think what matters is that as long as you show up for yourself, as long as you try, I think that's what matters. As long as you try. Because there are going to be people who are going to prey on your downfall. There are going to be people who are going to be waiting for you to croak and like kill yourself. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. There are people who will plotting and planning on how to undermine you and deceive you. And like I said, I recently just got scammed from a job. It was for a preschool. And I should have known. It said $40 an hour. That was a little weird there, but it was an administrative role. You were like the right-hand person for this company, this preschool, and it was based in Louisiana. And it seemed legitimate, and they had me do this screening form and everything. And they offered me the position, but I never actually met the manager. Lesson learned on my own accord. Like, if you don't ever see someone face to face, and it's not like a secured, encrypted thing, like not even just Zoom, like if you don't see them face to face, if they don't call, like, just know that probably it could be a scam. And I recently got scammed. And they gave me a check for like $5,000, and they're like, you have to deposit it right away. And I was like, this is sketchy. And they're like, you have to buy the equipment from whatever with that check. And then I ended up finding out that school was closing. And it was just very weird. The whole thing was super weird. Ended up being like, I think, a faulty check. And then they had to take it out of, like, they said something with an overdraft and this and that, and it was very strange. The whole thing was very weird. And just things like that, you know, people will try really hard to sabotage you and undermine you, and you have to stay keeping your spirits high all the time and keeping your mood and your affect positive is not easy. And if people wonder, well, how do you do it? I mean, because if literally I could write a book, the stuff that I've been through, it's been pretty horrible. I could have died. I almost did die. At one point, my heart rate, I kid you not, I don't know what I was being exposed to. I don't know if it was from bathing in bad chemicals or if I was drinking certain stuff or eating certain foods, but my heart rate at one point was like at 32. I'm not kidding. And my oxygen was really dangerously low at one point. And I had to hype myself up, and I said no. I was like, Ashley, no. I was like, you're not. And I don't know why it was happening. It could have been voodoo, hoodoo, who knows what. I don't know. But I said, not today, Satan. I was like, nope. But I want to say to you that if you are someone, and if you're struggling, if you're going through something hard, and I can't relate, maybe it's divorce, maybe it's PTSD, maybe you're a war veteran, I don't know. You know, we all go through different stuff, and I can't even speak to what going to war would be like. Maybe you lost a loved one, maybe you lost your brother, maybe you lost a child, you know, to a disease, cancer, epilepsy, whatever. Maybe you're dealing with epilepsy, maybe maybe you're not treated fairly at your job. I don't know. Maybe it's so horrible at your work that like you can't leave your job, but you need to stay there, but you know, you don't know how you're gonna endure it, you know. You just, you know, you have to have faith. You have to dig your heels in, and you know, maybe there's something else done there, or maybe look for a new job. If you have a job currently, I did a whole video about employment and stuff. Even if you're not being gang stalked, just maybe find a new job. There's always jobs posted, and some of you people are probably way more qualified than me for certain jobs. Maybe you have tons of experience in software development or engineering or cybersecurity. Like there's things like I wish I can go back, like learn cybersecurity, but it's very expensive actually. So, you know, I always say if there's a will, there's a way. Like doors will open, I think. I've seen it, because I've seen it in my life. Like when I was studying occupational therapy, I told myself I'll never forget, how am I going to get observer hours? You know, I was like, where am I going to find occupational therapists? So I just Googled occupational therapists, and I called people up and I said, hey, I want to study occupational therapy. Do you allow shadowing? Some people were like, no, we don't allow that, blah, 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 but I do know someone else. And then and I'll never forget when I was serving a family, they actually ended up being a family that had their own sports medicine clinic. And I learned so much. Like and to this day, that's why I get so frustrated with this whole thing. Because I'm like, I was on the road, bro. I was on the road to like, you know, some people, they want money, you know, they want to be rich, famous, with the Louis Vuitton bag and the 10 bathrooms and the, you know, I don't know, and the Rolls Royce and whatever, you know. I don't want that. I love helping people. I love learning. I'm sorry if I cry. It's just frustrating. And I'm not where I want to be in my life, and I feel like people did put restrictions on my life, and that's not fair to me, you know. You can't control anyone's life, you know. That's not how life works. People aren't projects, people aren't guinea pigs, they're not case studies, you know, they're humans. That's why we have the word human. It's inhumane to treat someone like that. But if you are someone who's struggling, and you are someone sometimes you feel like all hope is lost. You know, music is really helpful. I feel like sometimes what we can't say in spoken word, if you add a melody to it, it's more relatable. It's more digestible. The message gets conveyed better through sound. I don't know why. I just feel that way. So. And literally, like, there's been songs, like, there's certain songs that I listen to and I'm like, if it wasn't for that artist or those lyrics, I probably, like, I would have just wallowed more in despair. And I tell myself, well, if they can, because that's the thing, you find solidarity and you find relatability through someone else's words. Because I've listened to some songs of people and I go, oh, if they can go through a hard time, if they got pushed down and whatever and they got back up again, I mean, I could do it, you know, myself. And that goes from anyone, from like hip-hop artists to pop artists to country music people to, you know, and these people have a lot of influence, you know. I don't think they realize just how much of an influence they have on other people's lives. So collectively as a whole, I feel like the world itself collectively, we're all just, you know, and that's the thing too, we're all at the behest of certain leaders and certain people, and we want to ensure and entrust that, you know, the information that we're getting is correct and that these people have the best interest for us at heart, you know. You never know. You never know. Because sometimes you feel like you're just a speck, like in a macrocosm, you know, when you hear about billionaires and people making all this money and, you know, wealth, and you really wonder, do people care? Do they care about people that are poor? Do they care about, like, really, like, from like an empathetic sense, like, you know, like when you see people when they go and campaign for presidencies and stuff, and you see people on the front lines, like, immersing themselves in the crowds and really trying to get a really good understanding of what life is like for people in rural America, farmers, car salesmen, factory workers, the people who basically make up the fabric of America, you know, because they do. Farmers, mechanics, cashiers, people who work at fast food restaurants, people who serve the food at hospitals, you know, nurses, like, these are people who literally make up the fabric and the essence of America, or any country for that matter. And you wonder, do people have our best interests at heart? Because what happened to me shouldn't have happened. I mean, I'm a good girl. I do the right thing. I pay my taxes on time. I follow the rules. I don't break the law. And I don't find it funny to bully someone like that. There's no excuse for that. Especially with our infrastructure, the way that, you know, cybersecurity is and all that, it should not have happened. It's deplorable. It's that I'm 34 and I had to move on several occasions. And several employers and businesses, I think, participated actively in trying to sabotage or undermine me. Like, that's insane to me. And they didn't bother to hear the facts first from me. They just, you know, went along with whatever it was that the situation was going, you know, whatever it is. I didn't get any reassurance from anybody. I didn't get any closure. And through the hardest of times, I had to basically build myself up with little to no support. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I had to be my own advocate. I had to be my own detective, my own therapist. And then when people saw that I was struggling and they knew that I was going through a hard time, instead of lending a helping hand, some people made it worse. Some people gaslit me. Some people may have contributed to the rumors about stuff, saying that I'm a witch. I find that so funny. I'm sorry. The funniest one, I think, is that I was a trafficker and that I'm a terrorist. I'm so sorry. It's so funny to me. I could probably find terrorists if I want to. I'm not going to, but I could. If you get trained well enough, I mean, or if someone got trained well enough to use their intuition and stuff like that, like forensic psychologists or criminologist or whatever. Because of what happened to me, I did take a keen interest in like criminal psychology or criminal justice and cybersecurity. But I don't have the money to do that, or law school or whatever. But I just, it is frustrating. Especially being someone who demands authenticity. And I'm someone who takes accountability because, like, I realize, yeah, this should happen to me, and it's really, I don't say it's my fault in terms of being bad with money because I'm not, but I go, you know what, I could learn a little bit about, how do credit cards work, how does this work, I mean, I get it now about how, but, people will use that against me and say, oh, she's bad with finances because or she tried to steal. No, I was on Snap for like a few months. I tried, so I also don't think people believe that someone could be inherently kind. I think people think of that as like a fraudulent thing, and I'm like, no, like I'm intrinsically motivated, I'm naturally kind. Like the guys next door, they're working on the studio that hopefully I'll be moving into, and hopefully it'll be safe. I don't know. Every day I'm like, I don't know anymore. Nothing phases me. But I told myself, I was like, once it's done, not now, because I was going to do it before, and I was like, no, do it when it's done, because what if it's not up to the standards of what you're hoping it will be? And I told myself, I was like, well, if I was in construction, I was like, I would want someone to make me cookies or a cake or cupcakes or something, because I just think, baked goods, when you make something for someone else, when it's like they say baked with love, like when you cook for someone else, there's a certain I don't say je ne sais quoi, that's another, there's a certain what's the word, I don't know, like when I was in Vermont and I had the neighbors next door, they gave me they made stuff for me, like they made these cute little snacks. Oh my God, they were so good. They made these cheesecake bites. I need to text that lady. I just saw her, I'm thinking about her. She made these like cheesecake bites from scratch. Oh my God, they were so freaking good. The daughter or the niece that they had, like they did like these yummy little cookies and shit. Excuse my language, but like they brought them to the door. And mind you, I was like a fish out of water over there, and they came to the door and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, these people are so nice. I was like, they made me cook. There's something to be said for that. Like when someone thinks of someone other than themselves, it's like, it's so heartwarming because they don't get anything out of that. They just do it because and that's how we all need to live. We should all be focusing on like, how can I help my fellow person? People don't do that often anymore. If it doesn't benefit them, people usually won't do it, and that's really sad to me. And I think that comes from self-preservation. I think because people have been so wrong, and that's why I really do commend myself sometimes. Like I remind myself to give myself a pat on the back, or in this case, let me pat my stomach, because my rib cage right now is in pain a little bit. Like my chest is like I remind myself that, like, despite everything I've gone through, I still tried to retain some semblance of goodness and grace and kindness. So if I can do that, you can do that. And you feel really good after that. And that's why I can't tolerate people that like are gang stalkers and bullies, because I'm like, bro, you're so fucking dense. There's like kids dying in hospitals. There are people that are homeless out in the street. I could have been homeless out in the street, if my parents didn't help me put a roof over my head. I mean, it's not ideal. Like, I would love to have my own money again and live in maybe not a high-rise building, but, somewhere more me than this. But I'm grateful for it, But there are people who are living on the streets who have nothing. And that's really sad. And if you are someone who maybe you worked really hard, or maybe, I don't know, there's nepotism where people just inherit money and stuff. But if you are someone who's on the more affluent side of things, I encourage you to, if God blessed you with that abundance, and if it's a superfluous amount of abundance, look to your community and see where you can help out. Because I guarantee you there's someone that's struggling. There's someone who could benefit from your grace or your generosity. I guarantee you. And what will happen is that when you do that, you'll be remembered as the person who came through and helped that person. And then you're going to start a domino effect. And then that person's going to pay it forward. Because let's say you're someone and you have a shit ton of money, right? And you're like, where do I do with it? Instead of focusing on having more money, maybe, you invest a little bit here, you build it up over here, because maybe you get lucky, and that's just, some people are really lucky and they make a lot of money or whatever, or they work hard for it, or they inherited it or whatnot. But think of the good that you can do if you allocate that money to, let's say, I don't know, a scholarship fund for a school. Or if you, like a kid that's at an inner city school who thinks that they'll never ever get out of the projects, or they'll never get, because, their family generationally, it'll never happen. But what if that kid could be the next Nobel Peace Prize winner? What if that kid can, I don't know, inspire a bunch of people, be the next inventor, be the next astronaut, or I don't know. That to me is important. And so often you see people just wanting to get richer and richer and richer, but they don't give a shit about people who are poor. Or if they do give to the poor, it's to look good. So, I don't know. I hope that people, I just think we could do better. We can be kinder to one another. No one's going to make it out of here alive, meaning like, I hate when I say that because it makes me think of this building, but like, meaning like, we're all going to pass one day, right? So while you're here, why don't you make it do good, That's just that's the way I think, Some people will counter that and be like, no, focus on yourself. Fuck everyone else. Fuck the world. Fuck, anarchy. No, like, that's why we have people who are depressed and miserable. That's why we have lonely people. That's why we treat each other like shit, because everyone's in competition with each other. Women want to look better than other women. Men want to have bigger dicks than the other guy. Women want to have bigger boobs or bigger butt, fix their face, What if all the energy that we put in to try to focus on ourselves and trying to be the whatever, what if we put it back into like meaningful projects and things, And then when you do that, by the way, when you do that kind of activity, your soul glows and it radiates. That's what people should study. They should do a scientific study on that. That's what I think. And it kind of reminds me, there's a quote by Audrey Hepburn that I think it's like, where is it? It's like, I believe in pink quote. And it's like one of my other quotes. It says, I believe in pink. I believe that laughing is the best calorie burner. I believe in kissing a lot. I believe in being strong when everything seems to be going wrong. I believe that happy girls are the prettiest girls. I believe that tomorrow is another day, and I believe in miracles. I remember when I first found that quote, I was like, and it was literally in pink, and I was like, this is so me. I was like, this is so me. The kissing part I didn't know about. I was like, I don't know about the kissing part, because I hadn't done that yet, when I was younger. But To me, I think she's the epitome of class, in my opinion. And no, people are gonna be like, oh, she's white, whatever. No, there are women that are of color that are just as beautiful. There was a woman, she was in Africa, and this woman had the most beautiful skin tone. She was like this rich chocolate, like beautiful, like just her skin. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this woman's so pretty. And she was talking about cooking, like simple living in Africa. And I was like, bro, this lady had like very minimalistic living. And I'm like, bro, I was like, that's it. I was like, she found the answer to happiness, you know? So it's, yeah. But, I don't know. I just think we can do better and treat each other fairly. And I don't know what's going to happen with my situation. I don't know if I'm ever going to get closure. According to my family, especially my dad, he's like, you're never going to get the answers that you know, no one's ever going to tell you anything. And I'm just like, but I don't know. I believe in miracles. I believe that anything could happen. Anything is possible. And, you know, not to try to defy the odds, but it's just, I mean, some things I will say, some things aren't worth holding on to or harping on. But I also don't want to let my guard down, because if I let my guard down or my defenses down, I could get hurt, like physically. Because I've been listening to my intuition and my gut this whole time, and it's kept me alive. So, so I'm doing something right. But, and then she says, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. So, yeah. We'll see. Every day is different. I'm just grateful to be here. I really am, because after all the shit that I've been through, and Bonnie too. Hi, Bibber. I didn't know she came. She went to sit under the desk. When I was working remotely before at another job, she literally, like, she sat under, you can kind of see her. Where'd you go? Where are you going, Bibber? Where are you? I just see your tail. I see your butt. I see your tail wagging. Okay, there you go. I was wondering where. Are you going to sit under the tail? There you go. Yep, she does it. So that's what she does when I was working remote. I don't know, again, what that's going to look like next door. But we'll see. But if you do happen to have any information, please let me know about, because I would appreciate it. And I am hoping that one day everything will be okay, and then, you know, just things can go back to normal. Because I do think I was kind of thrown for a loop. I do think that I was abused. And I just don't want to be abused anymore. And I know there's that quote, people, well, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, but at the same time, I just think that, like, when you're a soft target and you're kind and you're nice, people take advantage of that. Because my natural inclination is not to be a bitch. I should be more of a bitch. I think if I was a bitch, I would be respected more. You know? So, not to get sad about it. It is what it is. So, anyways, that's my get ready. It's a really long video. I know Sunday's coming up. I haven't done Spiritual Sunday, so maybe I'll record that. And if anyone has any, I know in terms of jobs, there are like gig jobs. There's Uber Eats, there's DoorDash, there's, but you need a car for that. And I did, when I was in Indiana, I was considering, there's like Spark Driver or whatever with Walmart, and I was going to do Lyft driving, but I'm kind of nervous to have random people behind me, you know? Like driving them around, because you could rent a car through Lyft or whatever, and I don't know. I don't think that after all I've been through, I don't know how safe that would be, because I have met an interesting cast of characters while you know, living in Virginia and Philadelphia, and I don't know. I don't think that would be too safe. So yeah, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and I don't know. I wrote in my journal, not really my journal. Like I wrote sometimes when I doodle, because I do doodle. I do like to doodle. Where is it? I wrote it down somewhere. It says like peace, safety. I don't know why. I used to do that a lot, like in high school and stuff. I used to, on my own time. Like I should have been paying attention in class, but where is it? Good Lord. I know I wrote it down. It was like I put in big bubble letters. I wrote, it was probably in pink too or something. I wrote peace, safety, something. Peace, safety, security. How did bro, where is it? No, that was my grocery list. Where the F is it? Oh, safety, healing, prosperity. That's what I wrote. And then I wrote it here, safety, healing, prosperity. And then I wrote, I don't know why I put my grocery store. I wrote the grocery store hours. Because I was like, I always end up Googling, like, when does this close? When does this one, you know, because I was having all this weird stuff. Oh, there it is. It was safety, healing, prosperity. And then I wrote peace, safety, privacy. This is cute, right? This is so cute. This is so cute. I used highlighters. I have my little highlighter pens here. I used my highlighters too. I feel very proud. Anyways, so we shall see what happens next. Yo no sé. Pero I'm grateful for this one. She's still here. I'm still here. Birds are chirping. See, that makes me happy. Bro, I'm such a dork. Literally, like I find joy in hearing birds chirp. So yeah. As long as I can still hear birds chirping, then I'll be happy. So, anything else? I think that's it. Baby, what are you doing? And my dog needs her nails cut. Are you okay, baby? You feel okay? Why are you scratching? She was doing this weird thing with her paws. Why are you scratching? So I will attempt to eat eggs. Hopefully the eggs are safe. I don't know. And we will see what happens next. And that's it. And I'm sorry, I just started scrolling through stuff with Audrey Hepburn, and I'm like, the search results that come up, I'm like, what is this? But if you are being targeted or gang stalked or whatnot, I did do a video on how to cope through that and the things that have helped me, and I'm still here. You know, despite everything, I'm still here. And yeah, and if I'm not kidding when I say I think I've been poisoned numerous times. I thought I was trafficked or going to be kidnapped, and then I wasn't, and then, you know, I've walked into rooms with really scary gases, my tongue got burned, like weird, like literally my throat closed up, thought I lost my ability to smell out of my nose, gasping for air, very scary stuff, and I'm still here. So there is a God somewhere. I don't know, you know, I can't tell you what that looks like, but I do know that I do believe in angels. I believe in miracles. I think there's a quote that says miracles start to happen when you put more something into your dreams than you do into your fears, or something like that. And I never once doubted, you know, when I feel pain and I get scared, because there's been times where literally like I felt like I was sinking, or I felt like I was going to lose consciousness, and I was like, not today, Satan. I was like, not today. I have a whole life that I want to live. I want to get to 80 or 85 or 90, maybe 95. That's old. I want to be like the lady in the nursing home or by myself. Like when you think about it, our music, you know how like, it's so funny because when I listen to like old music, like 1950s, 1940s, that kind of stuff, like big band swing jazz, or that was their music, right? So people that lived in that time, that was their millennial music. It's like our music is gonna be like Pitbull, like what was it? Gasolina. We're gonna be like listening to like reggaeton, Bad Bunny, like dun 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 dun. That's gonna be our nursing aid. But you know what? As long as I get to 95 and I get to maybe have grandchildren and spoil them rotten and do that kind of stuff, I will be very happy. So we'll see. It takes time, and I don't really know what's happening behind the scenes with my situation, but I'm doing the best that I can with what I've got. And I am grateful that like my parents, at the end of the day, I don't want to, I that's what was so weird about this whole thing, was that my family is like the one thing that means like the most to me, and the response I was getting in the beginning of all that kind of didn't match the way I was raised and how I thought they'd respond. So and also too, when you're targeted, it sucks, because then if anyone that helps you or supports you, they get targeted too. So it's like, I never wanted to be like a burden or an imposition with people. And the same thing with friends and dating. It's like, if I date someone, then I don't want if they have kids, I don't want their kids to get targeted or be messed with, or their mom or their dad. And it's not easy, because people are assholes. And you can't change assholes. I keep thinking you could try to change assholes, but I don't work in the Bureau of Prisons. I'm not a rehab counselor, They have to want to do it themselves. People have to want to change themselves. That's the first step in change. You have to want to change. So I can't change gang stalkers. I can't change perps. I can't change hitmen. I can't change people's minds. I can only change myself. So, and if people want to try to hurt me and poison me, then I just have to, I don't know, be mindful of my food, I guess. I don't know. So that's that. And I will continue to push forward, and hopefully there will be a company that will be willing to give me a chance, and I can feel like a part of a team, because that would be nice, to be part of a team and not have to feel like I have to fight every day to undo the damage that was done with my reputation or whatever. It's like a horse. So, but that's that. And if I can get through this stuff, so can you. We all have different degrees of gang stalking and targeting and whatnot, but just try, I guess. Try your best. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And another thing I want to say is, I'm at fault for expecting people to treat me the way I treat them, and that's not possible. No one is ever gonna be you. There's only one you, unless you have a doppelganger or a clone. I don't think we've gotten to the point of being able to clone people yet. I hope not. That'd be really creepy and weird. But be responsible for your actions, and by emulating, or not emulating, by radiating goodness and love and light and staying positive in a negative situation, you win. I know it might not look like that, but bullies, mean people, assholes, liars, cheaters, con artists, criminals, they seek to provoke, and they do pick soft targets. Like, I know I'm a soft target, like, but at the same time, I'm also very intuitive, and I don't give up, and I do believe that miracles can happen. And do I know that people get assassinated? Yes. Do I know that people get murdered? Yes. But I also know that I have God on my side, and there's an immense amount of faith that I employ within that. And if people want to be mean and lie and try to hurt me, then that'll be between them and whatever God they believe or don't believe in. Or themselves, because they have to hold themselves accountable. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm just grateful to still be here. Because if the things that I've gone through as of late, oh man, it's quite scary. So, prayers are appreciated. If you have prayed for me, I really appreciate that. It probably your people's prayers worked. Because, you know, I forget that if people pray for one another and they send good intentions and good thoughts, that definitely goes somewhere. And I feel it because somehow magically, mysteriously, I've been able to heal and overcome really, really scary, arduous things. Things that people would basically otherwise say that's miraculous, or that would constitute as being miraculous. So, yeah. So thank you for that. And I'm hoping that in the coming days I can have like a shift in things, and I could say, oh my God, I got a job. You know, I don't know what I'd be doing. I know there's tons of jobs. Out there. And Chicago is like, so I thought about, I was like, maybe I can get into ABA therapy, because I did think of that. You know, ABA is kind of like along the lines of occupational therapy, but I've had really weird things happen working indoors, like occupational hazards wise. So I've been nervous and like reluctant to work indoors. I know that sounds really stupid and weird, maybe like an unfounded fear, but like I was scared to work indoors. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can find some sort of peace and safety and solidarity. But, you know, prayers are appreciated. And yeah. Thank you for, I guess, listening and watching. And I hope I was able to inspire somebody. And by the way, when life gets really hard and you feel like, oh my God, there's no hope, and you know, you want to like hurt yourself or do anything like that, please don't do that. Nothing is worth ever doing that, ever. Ever, 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 ever. And trust me, this is coming from a woman or a girl who's like lost a lot, including weight. But I'm trying to gain it back. And I, you know, been betrayed and really, really hurt. And by men, friends, jobs, different industries that I worked in. And what I tell myself as I go, what I try to do is, yeah, I may yell about it. I may say, oh, fuck this or whatever. But I ultimately say, forgive them, Father, or forgive them, God, for they know not what they do. Because essentially people don't really know. They're just going by emotions, or they go by lies or rumors, so they don't know what they do. Because someone who's cognizant of their emotions and they're cognizant of how their actions affect other people would never do that, right? People that have the emotional wherewithal, that possess empathy, would never dare wish to bring hurt or harm upon another individual. So you say, forgive them, God, or forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And I don't hold contempt for anybody. I've gone on my knees and I prayed on my bed and I go, please, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I've been in such pain before. Like, I've been in such pain where, like, I felt like I was dying. I've been scared. I've been poisoned with cyanide. Maybe not enough to kill you, but in trace amounts, or, you know, mercury, thallium. If you don't know what these things are deadly poisons. Digoxin can be fatal, like in like different amounts. Aluminum. And all I did is I said, please God, help me forgive them. Like, I'm scared, but I don't want to get angry. In the words of Yoda, fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And the opposite of suffering is peace. So in order to evoke peace, I said, I need to offer peace to the people that hurt me. So that's what I do. I know other people get really angry and they're like, fuck these people. These people are trying to... There's one person I connect with and he's like, I'm not as kind as you. If someone's trying to murder me, I'm not going to offer them grace. But that's what you have to do. Because when people go low, you have to go high. Because then that makes you just as shitty as them. If you have a shitty coworker, because they're shitty, people are shitty, and they will lie about you and cheat and betray you, you don't want to be like that. You want to be able to tell your kids and say, hey, there was this person, and yeah, they didn't treat me very fairly, but I kept my head held high, and I moved on. I carried myself with grace and dignity, and you know, certain people will notice that. If you think people don't notice that, people notice that. People notice the way you move and ebb and flow through adversity. People will admire you for the way that you carry yourself. Because instead of becoming resentful and spiteful, you decide to take tragedy and turn it into productivity. You turn pain into power. And that says a lot. Because think about it. You can go and say, oh, fuck that guy, fuck her, fuck him, fuck life, fuck whatever. But it takes a special individual who can stand through the storm and still remain at peace. And if anything, you know, dance it the fuck out. I did that yesterday. Because you can't control it. You can't control people. I put on some Pitbull, I put on some Bad Bunny, some Karol G, and, you know, bachata the shit out of it. I'm not in Miami, I can't get my tostada or my café con leche, but I can still put on my music. You know? So... And there's also the other thing too, you know, Mel Robbins, she says the let them theory, let them. I know that sounds counterintuitive because it's like, you're going to let them? You're going to let people walk all over you? You're going to let people treat you like shit? You're going to let them make fun of you? But they stopped your job. They ruined your career. They made you broke and homeless. Yeah, but I also gained an immense amount of maturity. I also gained an immense amount of insight and wisdom and resiliency that I could probably write a book about. I made it through the fucking fire. I fought Goliath and I overcame it. So, yeah, I lost a lot of shit and it's annoying. I'm very angry about that. But here's the beauty of life. When you wake up and you try and you get another day, someone didn't wake up today. Someone did not wake up today. Someone in a hospital, someone in their bed at home, someone lost a loved one. Someone lost a stillborn baby in the NICU today. So if God gives you another day, use that to your advantage. But if you need to take the time to rest, you rest. Because rest is good. Rest helps heal and rejuvenate the body. Rest, there's a lot of physiological processes, metabolic processes that happen during sleep. And when you're sleep deprived, all of that goes away. But remember that when you're like, oh, life is hard. Yeah, someone didn't wake up today. But you did. So, and I have every reason to give up. I have every reason. I have no money to my name. I don't know if I'm ever going to feel like welcomed here in this country ever, you know, because I don't really know what's going on relative to, you know, my situation. I still have a lot of question marks as to why and what happened and who said what and who did this and that. But I have my education. I have tenacity. I'm resilient. I'm creative. I'm kind. I follow the rules. I've never been arrested. I don't have any, convictions, or I don't have any addictions. I do like sugar a lot. I am a sweets person. I do. I will say that. I do like Italian food a lot. I don't know if that's my downfall. The Italians really know how to cook. And the Cubans know how to cook really well. Mexicans too. Mexicans know how to cook. I'm going to give the Mexicans their, and I'm sorry, I don't know, Germans, I don't know, but, but the Mexicans, the Italians, and the Cubans, and the Spaniards, man, they know how to freaking cook. But other than that, I really don't have, and I don't have a porn addiction, no sex addiction. I don't gamble. I don't believe in toxic positivity. Yeah. So when you feel like giving up, remember that someone didn't wake up today, but you did. And when you feel pain and you get nervous and scared, like I do, because like when I go to the grocery store now, I'm terrible. I'm like, can I eat this? Is that milk safe? The word almond, I can't look at the word almond. Salt, it makes me think of cyanide, because cyanide's potassium, whatever. There's certain words that trigger me still. One day I'll undo that. It'll fix itself. But for now, I'm trying to be as careful as I can be with foods and stuff like that, because I had really traumatic experiences with different beverages and foods back in, in Indiana and here. And, you have to offer grace and humility. But, within time. So, and then there's that quote, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. So my soul, in essence, kind of chose this to happen, or knew that this might happen. So I was kind of being prepared for it, I guess. I don't know. So. And also to the targeting people, I know there's a lot of speculation with who's behind it, and, oh, it's government and this, and it's the Freemasons and whatever. Who gives a shit? Whatever it is, trying to change it, you can only change yourself. Is it wrong that people pick on people? Yeah. But don't be like that. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I can't get back all the money that I lost. I don't know if I'll ever be paid restitution. But as long as I'm alive, as long as I'm still here, I'm going to try. And people may ensnare me in a trap. They might say, I'm going to set the trap for you. Oh, she's so naive and whatever. But I would like to think that the crisis or the chaos will be averted. And I'll be diverted from whatever it is. For all I know, this whole thing could have just been one big joke or one big just simulation. I don't know. I could have been being tested and who knows? I don't know. I would just like to think that, like, maybe like, in The Wizard of Oz where she's, I don't know if she wakes up from the dream or if like she realizes it was all a dream. It would be nice to be like that, where it just, you realize you're like, oh, it was all a dream. But I have a feeling there's some forces that really don't want that to happen. They would rather, like, have me stay stuck and scared. And scarcity is a mindset. Growth is a mindset. So you have to choose, do you want to stay in scarcity mindset or growth? You may not have anything right now. Like, I don't have anything to my name right now. But I also have skills and abilities. I have education. And I'm tenacious. And that, as a combination, can help get you places. So, and if no one's supporting you, just know that you have some random ass girl in Chicago who's been through a lot, who will support you. If you're someone that feels like you have no support, I will champion you. Because why not? As long as you're not crazy, as long as you're not like a serial killer, and you're not like, you don't hurt people, and you don't lie about people, and you're not sociopathic or cheat the system, then I will gladly champion you. And I will offer you kindness and encouragement. Just don't take advantage of my kindness. and don't mistake my kindness for weakness.